This is the last page of the practice final that's got the rhythm and the figured bass table. So I'm just going to go through this and explain as I go. I'm going to use a red pen so it shows up really nicely. Hope I don't make mistakes. All right, number of beats, 2. So that means this is duple meter. Since the division of the beat is 2 parts, we know that it will be simple meter because in simple meter, the beats divide into 2. In compound, they divide into 3. Okay, so this is some kind of simple duple. If this is the division of the beat, we add these together to make what a beat is. 2/16 equal an eighth. And in simple meters, the top note tells you how many beats, 2, and the bottom note is the beat value, which is an eighth note. Okay, here we have 4 beats, and we're in some kind of simple meter. So that means 4 beats is always going to be quadruple. Doesn't matter whether it's compound or simple, 4 beats will always be quadruple. And that means that this number up top will be a 4 as well, because in simple meters, top note is the number of beats, 4, and the bottom note is what gets beat. So that's also an eighth note, and that's going to break into 2 parts, which are going to be 16th notes, like that. Okay, line 3. We have a beat that has been broken into 3 quarter notes, that's been divided into 3 quarter notes. That means that this is compound meter. When a beat divides into 3 parts, it's compound meter. All right. And it's triple. Well, let's go this way first. To begin with, if we combine these together, we get a beat, which is a dotted half note, because 2 quarter notes is a half note and the next one is a dot. Okay. In the number of beats we have is triple, so that means 3. That doesn't change whether we're in compound or simple. Just what the beat looks like and how it divides up changes. Okay. Now, in compound meter, the bottom number is not the beat. The bottom number is the division of the beat. And the top number, you multiply the number of beats, 3, times 3, and that gives you the top number. Still says there's 9 quarter notes worth of time in the time signature, but we interpret it differently in compound meter. This number here is the division of the beats, not this. In fact, there is no number for this that we could put underneath there. And we have 3 groups of this, so 9 of those in total. Okay, we have a dotted note for our beat value, which means it has to be compound. Okay, because in compound, beats divide into 3 and dotted notes divide into 3 parts equally. So we can division of the beat this up. There, like that. Okay. Now we still have to figure out how many beats there are in it. And when you remember that this is compound, the top number is divided by 3 to tell you how many beats there are, if this is compound meter, and it is. 6 divided by 3 is 2 beats. Okay, and 2 beats means it's duple meter. All right, the last thing is what number goes underneath here? It's this number, what the value of the divisions of the beats are, which is 2. Okay. Okay. Rebeam, regroup, and simplify the following rhythms, 1, according to the given meter. Then add bar lines and any rests required to complete the last measure. So we are going to rewrite this so every beat is clear and bar lines are there. And if we have leftover at the end, if that's there, we'll add more rests to fill out the entirety of the measure. We're in 2/4 time. This is a simple meter. There are 2 beats per measure. And since we're in simple time, the bottom number, the quarter note, equals a beat. All right. So what we have to do is anything that goes over the 2 beats in the bar line has to be divided up and then reallocated so that it's clear with the ties. Anything that can be grouped together into a beat package will be, you know, shuffled around and beamed together like that. So let's start with this note right here. It's 3 beats long, right? That's too long for one measure. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this and turn it into a half note plus a quarter note. And there's my bar line because 1, 2, 1, okay? So in this next measure here, we have a dotted quarter note. If we add it into this measure, we still have too much, right? Because this is 1 beat right here, and that's 2 beats right there, and then the dot's too much. So we're going to take this, remove the dot, tie it over like that. So there's my note, there's my dot right there. 1, 2, here's my bar line right there like that. Now I'm going to take this note here, add it, and I've got 1.5 beats. I just need 1 more of those like that. So I'm going to break this beam off of there, right? And include it in this grouping right here. Now, this is a common exception. You know, you could say, well, don't you have to break this into 2 eighth notes and make it look like this? And tie those together. If you did that, that's okay. But this is one of those simplifications that you're allowed to do. It's very common to see, you know, eighth, quarter, eighth inside a measure like that. But if you did this, that's fine too. Our bar line is right there, okay? And now we have to think about these 16th notes here. They have to be grouped together, and anything else that can make a beat should be grouped in with them. So if I have one 16th note and another 16th note, I fill out the beat by taking an eighth note from there, and then I'll tie it to another eighth note. So I'm taking the remainder of a beat to fill out this entire beat, and I'll group those together. So I have 1 note, 2 note, 3 notes, which is 2/16 right there, right? And an eighth note's worth there, and then that will be another eighth note like that, okay? So 1 beat, and then what I need here is another half of a beat. So I'm going to take a half of a beat off of here like that, and then that's going to get rid of this and turn it into just a beat together, right? So I've taken an eighth note there, and what's left is a quarter note. So I put that there, and I'm missing 1 quarter note's worth of time in this because I got 1 beat. So like that. And I should put the last bar line there as well. Let's just make sure that I did everything. I rebeamed them and regrouped them and simplified them so that they fit inside the meter. And I added bar lines and any rests at the end to complete the measure. Half of the time, people make mistakes on this because they just don't read the instructions and do all the work. Make sure that you go back and make sure you've done that. All right, 16th notes and equivalent rests. Most people don't have a problem drawing a 16th note. Sometimes they do have a problem. I'll make that a little more prominent. 2 flags. They do have a problem remembering that that's the 16th rest. Okay, remember the 8th rest looks like a squish 7, and then every time you have another, like 16th, 32nd, you put another little line in there like that. Okay, half notes. Most people get that just fine. You should remember that the half note rests on the middle line pointing upwards, okay? And a whole note rests on the upper of those lines hanging downward, okay? Halves go up, whole notes go down. All right, I promise that I'm not going to make you do brevs on the final. Maybe I shouldn't promise that. Maybe in the future I will, but in 2020, in the fall, I won't. Finally, figured bass. This says give the simple version for figured bass numbers with the following chords and inversions. Okay, so we have triads and 7th chords. They have different abbreviated or shorthand versions of these, right? So we're not giving the longhand versions like we did on a review quiz or table. We're just doing the simple ones. Triad with the 5th in the bass. You know, I hope you just have these memorized, right? 7th chord with the root in the bass, 7th chord with the 7th in the bass is 4/2. Triad with the 3rd in the bass is 6. 7th chord with the 5th in the bass is 4/3. Triad with the root in the bass is nothing, right? 7th chord with the 3rd in the bass is that. You just got to have those memorized. Okay. It'll be these or other ones. I mean, that's almost all of them, I think, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's all of them right there. Should just know those. Okay.